I'm already here.
Okay. See you soon.
Okay.
Yourself.
Francis again. Okay, we got 2 minutes to go.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dana. Okay, we got 1 more minute. Yes, good morning. It's already 5 a.m. Let's all rise and let's begin our Hoon Dok by offering one standing bow to our beloved two parents. 하나님과 참 부모님의 저희들 옆에 경배 바로 our most beloved heavenly parents. Today, the 30th of May 2014, here at Washington Family Church, we pray that today, from here and all over the world, we pray that our true parents will have many victories here in the United States and all over the world with our true mother here on earth and our true Father in heaven. And we pray for the victory also of the true children, the true grandchildren. We pray for the World Mission Headquarters with our elder sister Sanjanin and his better half in Submin Park. We pray that they will always run the World Mission Department with the fire of our true parents. And we pray for the UPF chairman. We pray for Dr. Chung Chik-yan and his family and all the rest of the world headquarters. We pray international or vice presidents like Reverend Thomas Wong and his family, who really united our true mother and his staff. And we pray as well for all the leaders all over the world, especially continental leaders in South America, in Europe, in Africa, in Oceania. We pray for Reverend Myung Moon. In Asia, we pray for Reverend Chong Shek-yong, and here in North America and the Caribbean, we pray for Archbishop Kim and his family. And we pray as well for all the leaders and presidents of all the national headquarters of our Family Federation for World Peace and Unification all over the world, and especially here in America. We pray for Reverend Dr. Michael Malcolm, his family, his staff there at 4 West 43rd Street. We pray that all our reports, like the tithes on attendance, on our Sunday service, and even the Holy Day offerings will be accepted and reported there to the national headquarters. And eventually we can send it to our world headquarters. We pray for all the regions and districts all over the world, especially here in District 1. We pray for Reverend Ernest and Keiko Patton. We pray for their success always, and we congratulate him for graduating from the Unification Theological Seminary. Our district leader, Reverend Ernest Patton. We pray for his success always, and we pray as well for all the pastors and center leaders in our churches and centers here in America and all over the world, and especially here in the Mid-Atlantic area. We pray for the pastor in Norfolk, Virginia, Reverend Akira Ota, and the pastor in Richmond, Virginia Church. We pray for Father Adrian Bayo and the pastor in Towson, Maryland. We pray for Reverend James Stewart and his wife Antilli. And in the Beltway, we pray for the pastor of Northern Virginia, Miss Lejeune, that she is already fully recovered from her fall. And we pray for the pastor of the Maryland area. We pray for Reverend Milton Stevens and his wife and other co-pastors like Miss Jones. And here in the Washington Family Church, we pray for our pastor, Reverend Zachary Oliver, and his wife Umina and daughter Brianna. We pray for good health unity and success of all the brothers and sisters who are connected to us, to this Hoon Dok. We pray for healing, we pray for their success always in whatever they do, and we pray for the rest of our brothers and sisters, blessed couples and blessing candidates. We pray for their success always as we also bring in more and more members here and connect with the center of the universe, the Washington Family Church. We pray all this in all our names and in my name, Athanasius Francis, the Catalan Blessed Central Family. Aju, 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 Aju. Good morning. Okay, we're
Good morning.
reading page 131 now. Okay. I'll read about the number 2, and then somebody can read about teachings of Myung Moon. Okay. Number 2, now on page 131, alive with consciousness, endowed with purpose. No creature is there crawling on the earth, no bird flying with its wings, but they are nations like yourselves. In the Quran 6:38, I say, just as the consciousness of a man born blind, deaf and dumb, it is not manifest, likewise the consciousness of being of earth body, example, minerals, is also not manifest. Nevertheless, such a man experiences pain when struck or cut by a weapon, and so also do the beings of the earth body. Likewise, for water beings, fire beings, plants, animals, air beings, their consciousness and experiences of pain are actual, though not manifest. This is from Akara the Sutra 1.28.161 from Jainism. If these, my disciples, were silent, the very stones would cry out. This is from Luke 19, verse 40. Every part of this soil is sacred in the estimation of my people. Every hillside, every valley, every plain and grove has been hallowed by some sad or happy event in days long vanished. Even the rocks, which seem to be dumb and dead as they swelter in the sun along the silent shore, thrill with memories of stirring events connected with the lives of my people. And the very dust upon which you now stand responds more lovingly to their footsteps than yours, because it is rich with blood of our ancestors. This is from Chief Seattle, Native American Religion. The explanation of goodness of creation is the goodness of God. Nevertheless, certain heretics remain unconvinced on the ground that many things in creation are unsuitable and even harmful to that poor and fragile mortality of the flesh, which of course is no more than the just penalty for sin. The heretics mention, for example, fire, cold, wild beasts, and things like that, without considering how wonderful such things are in themselves and in their proper place, and how beautifully they fit into the total pattern of the universe, making their peculiar contributions to the common wealth of cosmic beauty. Nor have they observed how valuable they are even to us, if only we use them well and wisely. Consider, for instance, poison. It is deadly when improperly used, but when properly applied, it turns out to be a health-giving medicine. This is from St. Augustine, City of God, 11.22, Christianity. So we can request Paul to read Teachings of Myung Moon. And this is under all our topic, God's creation and human creativity. On the upper left.
Okay. Teachings of Myung Moon on page 132. Human beings themselves are a part of nature. Perfect nature is sacred. When the stamen of a flower kisses its pistil, it exclaims, "Ah, it feels so good." Do you think it feels such a sensation or not? The sensation of male and female for each other is the best sensation, composed of all five senses linked together. Insects may be invisibly small, yet they have eyes, ears, noses, mouths, and hands, don't they? Look carefully at the lawn. So many insects are there. With their ears they hear, with their mouths they taste, with their reproductive organs they copulate and produce offspring. In this they are like humans, only the class is different. When insects reproduce and produce offspring so tiny you cannot see them, will the parents kill them or protect and love them? They protect them. When they make love, do they do it with great pleasure, or do they say, "I dislike it"? Which? In this they are just like humans. There is no denying that God gave all creatures the sensibility to love through their five senses. With respect to love, God created male and female to have equal value. Love is the common denominator, equalizing the low-level world of insects with the high-level human world. Whether men and women or male and female creatures, all share the God-given common denominator. The human body, though consisting of matter, fully responds physiologically to the emotion, intellect, and will of the human mind. This demonstrates that matter has within itself elements that resonate with emotion, intellect, and will, elements which constitute the internal nature of matter. This is the reason all things in the universe respond to human emotion, intellect, and will, albeit to different degrees. We become intoxicated with the beauty of the natural world and experience the rapture of mystical union. We experience this because we are the center of the internal natures of all things in the natural world. God created every species of animal and insect to be preserved, that none becomes extinct. The food chain is balanced. While larger creatures eat smaller creatures, the larger ones do not reproduce as often. Many beasts of prey bear offspring only once every 2 years. For lions and tigers, it is 2 years and 8 months, almost 3 years. In contrast, rabbits bring forth their young every 3 months. By having many offspring, they provide food for the larger beasts as well as continue their own species. Adam and Eve create on behalf of God, and all things were created for the growth and perfection of Adam and Eve. They may sacrifice their lives, but they are assisting in the perfection of Adam and Eve's bodies. For this reason, people are permitted to eat anything, whether plant or animal. Greek philosophy looks at the world as a constant struggle, every creature an enemy to one another. On the contrary, they are not enemies. Such ideas arose only as a result of the human fall. The Marxist dialectic, as described in Das Kapital, states that development comes about through struggle, but that is not true. Even the vilest germs disappear when faced with their natural enemies. Do you understand what I mean by natural enemy? A tiger is the natural enemy of a dog. When a dog sees a tiger, it freezes and trembles and crawls back into its dwelling to hide. Natural enemies balance each other, thus nature takes care of every circumstance that comes along. 3. Mother Earth and her children. And God said, let the earth bring forth vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit in which their seed, each according to its kind, upon the earth. And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit in which is their seed, each according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Genesis 1:11-12. Perhaps if we are lucky, our Earth Mother will wrap herself in a fourfold robe of white meal, full of frost flowers. A floor of ice will spread over the world. The forest, because of the cold, will lean to one side. Their arms will break beneath the weight of the snow. When the days are thus, the flesh of our Earth Mother will crack with cold. Then in the spring, when she is replete with living waters, our mothers, all different kinds of corn, in their Earth Mother we shall lay to rest. With their Earth Mother's living waters, they will be made into new beings. Into their Sun Father's daylight, they will come out standing yonder to all directions. They will stretch out their hands calling for rain. Then with their fresh waters, the rainmakers will pass us on our roads, clasping their young ones in their arms. They will rear their children, gathering them into our houses, following these toward whom our thoughts bend, with our thoughts following them. Thus we shall always live. Zuni Song, Native American Religions. Set me, O earth, amidst thy center and thy navel, and vitalizing forces that emanate from thy body. Purify us from all sides. Earth is my mother, her son am I, and heaven my father. May he fill us with plenty. Whatever I dig from thee, earth, may that have quick growth again. O purifier, may we not endure thy vitals or thy heart. As a horse scatters dust, so did earth, since she was born, scatter the people who dwelt on the land, and she joy sped on, the world's protectress, supporter of forest trees and plants. What I speak, I speak with sweetness. What I look at endears itself to me, and I am fiery and impetuous. Others who fly at me with wrath I smite down. Peaceful, sweet-smelling, gracious, filled with milk, and bearing nectar in her breast, may earth give with the milk her blessings to me. Thou art the vessel, the mother of the people, the fulfiller of wishes, far extending. Whatever is wanting in thee is filled by Prajapati, firstborn of eternal order. May those born of thee, O earth, be for our welfare, free from sickness and waste. Wakeful through a long life, we shall become bearers of tribute for thee. Earth, my mother, set me securely with bliss in the full accord with heaven. Wise one, uphold me in grace and splendor. Atharva Veda 12.1, Hinduism. Most high, omnipotent, good Lord, all praise, glory, honor, and blessing are yours. To you alone, Most High, do they belong, and no one is worthy to pronounce your name. Be praised, my Lord, with all your creatures, especially Sir Brother Sun, who brings the day, and you give light to us through him. How handsome he is, how radiant, with great splendor. Of you, Most High, he bears the likeness. Be praised, my Lord, for Sister Moon and the stars. In heaven you have formed them, bright and precious and beautiful. Be praised, my Lord, for Brother Wind, and for air, for cloud and clear, and all weather, by which you give your creatures nourishment. Be praised, my Lord, for Sister Water. She is very useful and humble and precious and pure. Be praised, my Lord, for Brother Fire, by whom you light up the night. How handsome he is, how happy, how powerful and strong. Be praised, my Lord, for our sister, Mother Earth, who nourishes and governs us, and produces various fruits with many colored flowers and herbs. St. Francis of Assisi, Canticle of the Sun, Christianity. Teachings of Sun Myung Moon. When we were created, the universe lent us its elements to constitute our bodies. This means the universe gave birth to us. It is our first parent. Our fathers and mothers are our second parents, the parents who brought us into the world. God, who gave each of us a spirit, is our third parent. Thus, human beings have three sets of parents. People in the ancient times had a close relationship with nature. Then the natural world and the spirit world were close to human beings, not distant and foreign as they are to people living in the modern times. When people entered a grove of giant trees, they looked at them reverently and thought, "For thousands of years these trees have been here. Through countless cycles of quickening in spring and dying in autumn, they remain unchanged. Their shade makes a pleasant environment for all creatures." Observing them, they recognized that they were deficient in many aspects, so they worshipped tall trees, great rocks, and high mountains. They saw tall persimmon trees, thick with foliage in the summer and bare in the winter. With the arrival of spring, their branches sprouted with new life, first buds, then blossoms, and finally delicious and fragrant fruit. They marveled at this and sensed that those trees were better than they. Where is the fragrance in human existence? Do humans give off a fragrance that beautifies their surroundings, attracting birds and insects to nest in their branches? No. Compared to nature, man is humbled and recognizes his inadequacy. When we look at the creation, we feel religious emotion welling up from deep in our hearts and naturally bow down before it. Gazing up at the constellations of the night sky or exploring nature around us, we experience awesome and mysterious feelings surging up from deep in our hearts. This state is the starting point of religion. While gazing at living things and the phenomena of nature, we can sing songs that arise from the precious world of heart within. Playing nature's music, displaying nature's art, and reciting nature's poetry, all living things resonate in our hearts. Then we can relate with God, who rules the heavenly bodies. Experience the feeling that you are intimately connected to everything. Then you can enter a state of the heart to rightly appreciate them. You enter a mystical state in which you can feel everything in its reality. God created human beings to connect with all his creation, which he had made inseparably interrelated within himself. Externally, we appear to be extremely small and insignificant, but when we behold nature from its understanding, we can feel human beings' true dignity and value. I only ask God, "For whom didst thou create this universe?" God replied, "Son Myung Moon, I created it for you. As God is my God, so the universe is my universe. These are not only words, I feel it in my bones." In springtime, I behold the beauty of the universe and the beautiful flowers and fragrances, and in the butterflies and bees flying about. These creatures show us God's love and God's precious value. They display the harmony of his angels. I feel connected to everything. A bird chirps, it is asking me to feed it. It wants me to help it and find a mate. I am very sensitive to the world of nature. When butterflies are fluttering together in pairs, or when a male and female bird sing together for joy, I see it as a lesson that man and woman should live together with even greater beauty and happiness than these. When the birds and flowers stimulate me with their joy and love, I would in turn stimulate God in heaven with my songs of joy and love. I may be penniless and my clothes may be rags, yet I never feel poor. I think the sky is my blanket, the flowing brook is my water faucet, and the plants growing nearby are my food. When you feel that the house of God is your house, how can you feel poor? When I see a small stream, I feel behind it the dignity of the great ocean. When I see a blade of grass, I think its beauty is greater than the greatest masterpieces in the world's museums. A painting may cost millions of dollars, but it is merely man-made. It cannot compare with the small creation of God. Once I caught a bird and kissed it, saying, "You are more precious than anything in the world." Should I continue on with the reverence for life? I think that might be a new topic. Oh, okay. Page 136, Reverence for Life. Passages in this section prescribe the ethic proper to reverence for life. Taoist and Buddhist texts remark on the artificiality of the human world and call us to return to the innocence and purity of nature. Living in nature is purifying and conducive to the spiritual life. In contrast to the dark and dirty environment of the city, for anyone who spends time in nature, reverence for anyone who spends time in nature, reverence for the natural world and respect for all its creatures is not something forced, but flows naturally from a loving heart. Then there is the doctrine of ahimsa, non-violence towards all living beings, which arose in the Indian subcontinent. Vegetarianism is often motivated by this ethic. Moreover, among nature's creatures, none gives more completely and without complaint than the cow, which is rightly revered by Hindus and many native peoples. Father Moon's teachings touch on many of these points, but especially emphasize love of nature, which he regards as the starting point for environmental ethics. However, he offers an interesting dissent from vegetarianism, based upon the concept that creatures of lower order seek to come closer to God's love through being eaten and absorbed by creatures of higher order. Ideally, they would strive to be nourishment for humans who stand at the summit of creation because they embody God's love. Nevertheless, people who do not practice true love are unworthy to consume their food. Care and reverence for all living things. As a mother with her own life guards the life of her own child, let all embracing thoughts for all that lives be thine. Kudaka Patha Metta Sutta, Buddhism. The mode of living that is founded upon total harmlessness towards all creatures, or upon a minimum of such harm, is the highest morality. Mahabharata Shaktiparva 262.5-6 Hinduism. The Prophet said, "There is neither harm nor cause for harm in Islam." Majma al-Zawad 4.6536 Islam. One should not injure, subjugate, enslave, torture, or kill any animal, living being, organism, or sentient being. This doctrine of non-violence is immaculate, immutable, and eternal. Just as suffering is painful to you, in the same way it is painful, disquieting, and terrifying to all animals, living beings, organisms, and sentient beings. Akaranga Sutra 4.25-26 Jainism. A certain priest had been killed by the bite of a snake, and when they announced the matter to the Blessed One, he said, "Surely now, O priest, that priest never suffused the 4 royal families of snakes with his friendliness. For if that priest had suffused the 4 royal families of the snakes with his friendliness, that priest would not have been killed by the bite of the snake. Creatures without feet have my love, and likewise those that have 2 feet, and those that have 4 feet I love, and those too that have many feet." Vinaya Pitaka Kula Vaga 5.6 Buddhism. The more a person accepts as being good, to preserve life, to promote life, to raise to its highest value life which is capable of development, and as being evil, to destroy life, to injure life, to repress life which is capable of development, this is the absolute fundamental principle of the moral. A man is ethical only when life as such is sacred, that of plants and animals as well as that of his fellow man, and when he devotes himself helpfully to all life that is in need of help. Rear them, but do not lay claim to them. Control them, but never lean upon them. Be their steward, but do not manage them. This is called the mysterious power. Tao Te Ching 51, Taoism. A horse or a cow has 4 feet. That is nature. Put a halter around the horse's head, or put a rope through the cow's nose. That is man. Therefore it is said, "Do not let man destroy nature. Do not let cleverness destroy destiny." Chung Tzu 17, Taoism. In the land of Yamato there are many mountains. Ascending to the heaven of Mount Kagu, I gaze down on the country and see smoke rising here and there over the land, seagulls floating here and there over the sea. A fine country is this, the island of dragonflies, this province of Yamato. Manyoshu Shinto. On the eastern side of this Himalaya, the king of mountains are green-flowing streams having their source in slight and gentle mountain slopes. Blue, white, and the 100-leafed, the white lily, and the tree of paradise in a region overrun and beautified with all manner of trees and flowering shrubs and creepers, resounding with the cries of swans, ducks, and geese, inhabited by troops of monks and ascetics. Jataka, Buddhism. Come back, O tigers, to the woods again, and let it not be leveled with the plain, for without you the axe will lay it low. You, without it, forever homeless go. Kudaka Patha, Buddhism. Should I read the teachings of Sun Myung Moon part?
I think we read more. 45 there.
Okay, we're ending on page 137.
137. Thank you, Paul. So any reflections or inspiration? So we read at least 2 topics today. Reverence for Life, which is the latest one, from 136 to 137. And from 131, it's about God's creation and human creativity, until 135. Yes? So I like the reading about, about the brook, and where it's like a faucet, it's very big, and this is from the teachings of Father. I remember also a story about a rich man asking his son, after he spent like 2 days, on the weekend in the countryside. So he wants to know what is the son's experience. He is rich. So the son reported to his father that in the countryside, the families there, their dogs are like 5 to 6 dogs, but we only have like 2. And then their swimming pool is so long, because he's talking about a creek, and it's like endless, their swimming pool, and ours is just only like 20 to even 25 feet. And then of course their lawn is like never ending, because it's talking about the countryside, that you can go and hunt and go around. And our lawn is, of course they live in a city, they're rich, it's enclosed, and it's also maybe the most, maybe it's 1,000 square meters. So he told his father that means that compared to the countryside, how poor we are, even though they are rich. Compared to these children in the countryside, they are rich. He's a rich boy, So father is like, if you live in his palace or mansion, he said, or church, you should be at least we should be feeling all this abundance, with nature also. So anybody else? That's all I can share.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, I was just reflecting since yesterday. I continued still to reflect about the 52nd day of all true things, and before we just used to have day of all things, but these were the true things. And this is in reflecting, how God first created all these things and how true they are, how science is still continuing to discover many things, and it's just amazing that now we have very fast cars, so we can go to, or planes or anything. Science is just doing marvelous things. So that expresses what we are reading here about human creativity. And it's a great thing to perceive, because NASA has now sent to the Mars something they call Curiosity, a robot that's going on the Mars and finding things by itself. It's a remote controlled, all those things. Between here and Mars, it took 3 years for it to arrive in Mars. It's just amazing. Human creativity is that wonderful. And now it's been on the Mars for almost a year. I've been following this story about that creativity and discovering what's going on Mars. And when you start to see what True Father tells us, what potential we are, that God created us, even wishing that we can even be better than God. And that's what we were reading in the last chapter 3. We are now reading chapter 4. But chapter 3 was talking of how God created us with wanting us to be better. I don't think reaching the Mars it makes us better, but it shows that we have that potential. Then another thing is we went to Ion's, our daughter's high school graduation, Roosevelt High School, and the guest speaker there gave his testimony that in his years he didn't finish high school. He reached 11th grade and he dropped out. And he was those African Americans, children who are already declared cannot go to school, cannot perform, he's not the school type, he needs a lot of discipline and he cannot make it. So in the things to do with academic, that field is not for him. Then he said, after that he went to some community college and started his academic pursuits. Today he's a PhD and member of the Board of Education in PG County. After he has gone, he said, I went from this university to this university, and from this university I went to this university, and from this university went even to Oxford University in London. And he said, hey, and we were doing this before technology came. Now he was telling the students there, the graduates, that you people are living even in a much better age. You don't need to go to Oxford physically like me, because you can do it online. So where you are, you can define yourself. He said, we are in a new world where they have now the selfie. Selfie is where you take your own photographs and whatever you want to describe yourself. Now there is no more people describing you like they had described him to be a failure. And they had he had to beat that system, or that people, teachers and everyone condemned him. And he was framed as a failure. But he had to prove himself by defining himself. So now he says, in the self-I age, we are in the self-I age where you define yourself. No one can say and even persecute you or what, and you can say and define yourself. You can take photographs of yourself. Just take your own camera from your own cell phone, take your own photographs, delete what you don't like, and pick up the one you like, and you can say what you're aspiring for, and say many things about yourself. So he was telling these graduates, you are in a completely different world where everything is in your fingertips. And that made me reflect about the day of all true things. And I saw how God now by technology is enabling us, his children at this age, no longer to be even condemned by Satan, who stole our image, original image, the true ourselves, what we were before God. True parents has broken through and made us free, that we can now spiritually define ourselves. It is the conditions you do by yourself. If we follow what God said in Genesis 1:26-27, let us create man in our own image. Now, in the image of God, you can be, because true parents has broken the bondage of Satan on humanity by the connection of blood lineage, and everything has been restored. So we are also free in the spiritual realm because of true parents. And we can spiritually do our own self-I. We can come and do Hoon Dok and discover who we are. And this is not only to Christianity. We have a book. I was just looking and say, we have this book here, the first one in human history that brings together all religion scriptures, all religious scriptures. So we can discover what the Muslims are. So even that the idea that Christians couldn't know what the Muslims, what the Hindus, Buddhists, what they believe and what they practice and what is their internal aspirations to become like God. We now can become, know each other. So that is also another way that we are, our spiritual self-I is no longer, can no longer be contained by one religion. So all religions can become one. And now connected with science, we read in the divine principles that science and religion will unite. And I am seeing before religion and science unite, religion has to unite first. And that's why I feel that it's God's purpose and time that this is the very time that we are reading the world scriptures and the teachings of Myung Moon, who is the unifier. He's been working all his life to unify all religions and even to connect science and religion, because again he did all these conferences of unity of sciences. Father is just amazing that he knew all these things, how to liberate all of us. And that was so profound to reflect like that on the 52nd day of all true things. And that's what I wanted to share with you this morning, after even reading what we read this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Ezra. Anybody on the teleconference. So we're getting more inspired and inspired every day here. So piggybacking on Reverend Ezra's reflection. Yeah, so religion and science is like mind and body. Mind is like, religion. You don't see it, but it's there. And science, they usually, is like the body. You can see it. It's tangible. You can repeat it by experiments. So if you unite mind and body, it's like uniting religion and science. Of course, centered on God, you get, an ideal self. So an ideal world, And anybody else? Okay, so if there's none, let's all rise and have unison prayer. Our most beloved Heavenly Parents, we're so thankful for this reading today. The creation and human creativity, and today's topic also about the reverence for life. We pray that we can always appreciate all the things you have done for us, for restoring us and give us the blessings. We pray that we can always share it to all our friends and relatives, our townmates, our classmates, our office mates, all our associates before, and we pray that we can let them know about the true parents before they go to the spirit world. We pray as we discuss many spiritual things here, not only from the Unification Church, but on all other religions, their views about many topics. And we pray that we can always learn from each other as we do the Hoon Dok, that we can always get 100% from the reflections and the understanding of our brothers and sisters. We pray that the more we share, we can reach 100%, because each one has 1/4, 1/3 of the understanding of the whole. And if we do this Hoon Dok, we can really learn as much as 100%, because we share all these things that we learned today. And that's the purpose of Hoon Dok. We pray that more and more people will really follow this tradition as they learn many things, as we read and discuss and make reflections about our reading today. We pray for each other's success. We pray for healing and unity. We pray for good health of all the people who are tuning in and watching even the playback of our Hoon Dok. We pray that they'll be inspired always, not only for months, but even years to come. And we pray for, again, each other's success. And we pray for whatever endeavor today. We pray for their all the fulfillment of one's hope and desires. And we pray all of this in all our names, and in my name, Athanasius Francis C. Catalan, blessed central family. Aju, aju, aju. 우리의 소원은 통일, 루메로 소원은 통일, 이모 선바쳐서 통일, 통일 Good morning to you, our beloved true parents of heaven and earth and humankind. Good morning to the true children, the true grandchildren, and to all brothers and sisters. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Diane. So, good news. You know, the husband of Sanjanim, Insupnim, he shared our pictures from here, from yesterday, to everyone in his Facebook. But we pray for them, you know, because they have no siblings yet.
Wonderful.
Yes, yeah. So it's inspiring.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, when I woke up, I checked, you know, the in charge of the World Mission Department, his wife, yeah, they shared our pictures here from the 52nd Day of All True Things to everyone. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, in their timeline, yes. So, thank you, Fumi-san and all the Japanese sisters who made the offering table. Okay, have a great day.
Nice.
Yes,
Thank you. Have a great day.
yes, same to you. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, bye-bye.